JD Vance, he's a candidate for Senate in Ohio, and he's got a new ad with a very, very simple question.
Are you a racist? Do you hate Mexicans? The media calls us racist for wanting to build Trump's wall. They censor us, but it doesn't change the truth. Joe Biden's open border is killing Ohioans, with more illegal drugs and more Democrat voters pouring into this country. This issue is personal. I nearly lost my mother to the poison coming across our border. No child should grow up an orphan. I'm JD Vance, and I approve this message because whatever they call us, we will put America first.
There's JD Vance running for Senate, as I pointed out there. And here's this new ad. Are you a racist? Do you hate Latinos, or do you say Mexicans? I'm not sure. But he's wondering, do you really know? Because they want to shed this entire connection to their racist points of view, things like this, like great replacement theories, how these Mexicans are flooding the border, they're infesting the country, they're stealing your jobs, they're rapists, they're killers, they're murderers, they're drug dealers. They can say all this, but then the point of that ad is to say, ignore the people who are calling out and illustrating exactly how racist our party is and how we're running on hatred. That's the point of that ad. That's all it is. So in doing that, there's some examples of when he went on with Tucker Carlson, and I mentioned great replacement theories. The leader of his party, Donald Trump.
Why is no one trying to get the invasion of the United States to stop? And why is using the US military in which you served a crazy idea?
Well, Tucker, because our politicians don't care about their citizens. I mean, think about this. Every time that Joe Biden undoes one of Trump's immigration policies, it leads to a massive spike in fentanyl coming across our country. That kills our citizens. This is not bad policy. These people are doing it by design. It's good policy from their very warped perspective because they are accomplishing the invasion of the country that they should love, but of course they don't. America's workers, but also Democrat politicians who have decided that they can't win re-election in 2022 unless they bring in a large number of new voters to replace the voters that are already here. That's what this is about. We have an invasion in this country because very powerful people get richer and more powerful because of it. It's not bad policy, it's evil, and we need to call it that.
This is an invasion. When you see these caravans starting out with 20,000 people, that's an invasion. This judge is of Mexican heritage. I'm building a wall. Okay, I'm building a wall. I was badly criticized for using the word invasion. It's an invasion. He's a member of a society where, very pro-Mexico. And it's also an invasion of drugs coming in from Mexico, okay? It's an invasion of drugs.
But he's American. He's an American.
He's of Mexican heritage, and he's very proud of it. But how do you stop these people? You can't. There's no... We're building a wall. He's a Mexican. We're building a wall between here and Mexico. But we're taking people out of the country. You wouldn't believe how bad these people are. These aren't people. These are animals.
If you are saying he can't do his job because of his race, is that not the definition of racism?
No, I don't think so at all. They're bringing drugs. He's afraid. We don't love the fact that he's got tattoos on his face. That's not a good sign. They're bringing crime. We don't love the fact that he's carrying the flag of Honduras or Guatemala or El Salvador, only to say he's petrified to be in his country. They're rapists, and some, I assume, are good people.
If he's asked that question, Ida, are you a racist? I wonder what Donald Trump would say, because he has been asked that question. And Donald Trump said, I don't see any problem with me going after Latinos for who they are and where they come from and what I deem is their belief system.
Well, I mean, it doesn't matter what you say, right? It just matters what you do. It doesn't matter what you say. I can tell you that, I love children and then go out and beat a bunch of them with a belt and just say, you know what I mean? It's just like, we have to stop listening to what people are saying and paying attention to their actions, because they tell us what we want to hear and then they go and do whatever they want to do. I think it's just funny to hear this. I thought that ad felt like a sketch from SNL, like coming from like the comedy realm. It felt like an SNL sketch. The fact that he said the border lets you know how ignorant he is, because people who come from that border come from Guatemala, they come from El Salvador, not just Mexico. The fact that he put all the Latinos unless he's specifically just talking about Mexicans. I mean, I would be interested in hearing about the Eastern Europeans who come here and commit crimes like human trafficking, who come here and do insurance fraud, who come here and do a whole bunch of other crimes that affect the economy, the humanity of this country, not just people who come from brown areas. I'm tired of the talking point about immigration belonging specifically and solely to Central Americans. When people migrate here from Asia, they come from Africa, they come from Europe. But the fact that you would allow someone this ignorant to, be in charge of, being your spokesperson for the policies that affect your everyday, affect your children's education, your health care, everything that happens in your orbit these are the people that you are employing. And he's wasting this time to ask you for your vote by telling you he's not racist and that somebody did something to his mother, as opposed to using this time to tell you, this is what I'm gonna do to make your life better. And that is why you need to pay attention to these people, because yes, the president matters, but those are the people that affect your specific area, and those are the people you need to be focusing on.
I'm glad you brought up his background, because some of his background is that he's talking about the potential drug trafficking and people who are affected by it. And one was his mother. This isn't me breaking any kind of news, because he's talking about how it is a personal deal for him. His mother was addicted to drugs, and he, I guess, suggested that he was abandoned a bit by her because of that. So when we're talking about people who are addicted to drugs in the country, what kind of energy do we give to that in general, especially people like this who are perpetuating war on drugs and saying it's certain folks? Do we picture JD Vance's mother? And then when we picture JD Vance's mother, do we then say, look at that filthy drug addict? I can't believe she's destroying our country, because that's what we say about most every other person that's addicted to drugs in the country. They're not victims of it. They don't have any other problems that led them down that road. They're just horrible people. But when you use it for political purpose to say how much you hate Mexicans, then you say my mother was a victim of their drug trafficking. I thought drug addicts were dirty human beings that are destroying our country and shouldn't be doing this and deserve no sympathy, no empathy, and absolutely no help. They need to pull themselves up by their bootstraps, unless you're JD Vance's mom and unless he wants to run for the Senate.
Right.
That's not what we have.
My mom, I'm sorry, my mom is addicted to drugs and she's addicted to opiates. So should I be holding all the white rich families and big pharma responsible for my mother's addiction? Because if that's the case, then we have a serious problem that's a domestic issue with the people in our own country who are killing so many people in this country, and they're egregious. Am I racist? Do I hate white people? Absolutely not. But the reality of it is that if we want to talk about drugs and we want to talk about addiction and we talk about the problem in this country, we need to go a little further up than just Mexicans that are running across the border selling drugs for survival because we destabilized their countries. And what they're doing is wrong, but what they're doing is a result of something bigger than them. They don't fly the planes in. They don't have the power. You talking about people who selling dime bags on corner? Let's talk about the real drug dealers. Let's go up to the corporations and the politicians who are heavily involved in the drug trade globally, not just domestically. We want to talk about drug dealers, then let's talk about the real drug dealers. And let's find out who we really should be blaming for JD's mom being on drugs. And the fact that he used the word orphan, come on, bro, like stop.
Yeah, you got to be a man of the people at the right times when you need to appeal to them.